All right. Ready for a deep dive into something a little different.
Oh, I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
Well, today it's all about channeling.
Channeling. Okay, now you have to elaborate. We talking contacting aliens or something?
Not quite. More like tapping into a source of wisdom and guidance that's closer to home?
Closer to home. Like what?
Ourselves, actually.
Ah, so it's more like an inner wisdom thing.
Exactly. Think of it like an inner GPS. Always there, but maybe a little muffled.
Muffled by what?
You know, the static of everyday life.
Makes sense. I like that analogy. So who's our guide for this inner terrain navigation?
Well, our guide today is Sonia Choquette. She's a spiritual teacher and author who specializes in intuition.
I've heard of her. Good stuff. What are we diving into specifically?
We're looking at some insights from her YouTube video about channeling angels and spirit guides.
Angels and spirit guides. That might sound a little out there for some people.
Yeah, it might. And that's okay. Even if you're not particularly spiritual, I think there's something here for everyone.
Right. What Choquette presents are actually practical tools no matter what you believe.
Exactly. Like stress reduction, clearer thinking, even sparking creative solutions.
All good things.
So can you give me the core idea here?
Sure. Choquette's main point is that we all have this divine support system within us that we can tap into.
Divine support system, what does that actually look like?
Well, it might include angels or spirit guides for some people, but it could also just be tapping into a higher aspect of ourselves.
I see. So it's not necessarily about some external force calling the shots.
Right. It's about accessing a level of wisdom that's already within.
Okay, I'm with you. So how do we start tuning in? Where do we even begin?
Choquette really emphasizes the importance of creating space first, both physically and emotionally.
Creating space, kind of like decluttering.
Exactly. Like how a clean workspace can help you focus. A clear inner space makes it easier to receive guidance.
Makes sense. But how do you declutter emotionally?
Well, she actually recommends a physical technique.
Oh, really? Tell me more.
It involves saying your fears out loud, like literally naming them.
And then what?
And then picturing them leaving your body with each exhale, like a big sigh of relief.
So it's almost like those mindfulness practices where you acknowledge and release negative emotions.
It's very similar.
Yeah.
All about making space for something new.
So we've decluttered. What's next?
Well, now it's time to get into a receptive state.
Receptive. Okay. How do we do that?
Choquette has this technique she calls the slide.
The slide. Okay, you have to tell me about this.
So you open your jaw, let it a sigh, and then, get this, you smile.
Open your jaw, sigh, and smile. That's the slide.
It might sound odd, but she says it helps to open what she calls the curtains of the heart.
The curtains of the heart. Interesting. So this slide is supposed to make us more receptive.
Exactly.
You know, it does sound a bit out there, but I'm curious enough to try.
Shh, I get it.
Why are these physical actions so important, though?
It's like yoga or meditation. Certain postures can shift your energy.
So smiling, even if you don't feel like it, can help create that sense of calm and openness.
That's the idea.
Interesting. So we've cleared space, shifted our energy. Now what? Just sit around and wait for the wisdom to download.
Not quite. Choquette actually suggests calling in archangels.
Archangels, like for protection and support.
Exactly. And she mentions several specifically, each associated with certain qualities. Like Archangel Michael, for example.
Isn't he often associated with strength and protection?
Yeah, that's right.
So it's like calling on the energy you need for a situation.
Exactly. Aligning yourself with those qualities.
I can see how that'd be helpful, whether you believe in angels literally or not.
Right.
So we've got our support system in place. Now, how do we actually, formulate questions for this inner guidance?
Choquette says it's all about staying present.
Okay, so no asking about winning the lottery 10 years from now.
Right. Instead of focusing on the future, think about a current challenge.
Okay, so ground yourself in the now and ask for guidance with what's right in front of you. That makes sense. But how do we know if we're really hearing our inner guidance? Or is it just our own thoughts disguised as something deeper?
Ah, that's a great question. It's all about discernment, which is the next stage of channeling.
Yeah.
Discernment is key. We want to make sure we're getting true guidance and not just our own hopes and fears. You know, dressed up in fancy language.
So how do we tell the difference? Are there any clues we can look for?
Absolutely. One thing Choquette points out is that true guidance often feels calming.
Calming?
Yeah, reassuring. Almost like a sense of peace.
So not like some big dramatic revelation?
Right. It's not like you suddenly unlock the secrets of the universe.
Yeah.
More like a quiet knowing.
Oh, I see. More like a subtle nudge in the right direction.
Exactly. And it might even surprise you, like an insight that you hadn't considered before, but it just clicks.
Oh, yeah. I've definitely had those moments where I'm struggling with something and then, boom, the solution just appears.
That's a great example.
Yeah.
Like your subconscious mind has been working on it in the background, and then the answer bubbles up.
So it's not necessarily about hearing voices or seeing visions then?
Not at all. It can be much more subtle. In fact, Choquette emphasizes that true guidance is often very simple.
That makes sense. Our egos love to make things complicated, don't they?
Oh, for sure. The ego loves drama and confusion.
So if we're getting something super complex or convoluted, it might not be our inner wisdom talking.
Could be. Authentic guidance is usually pretty clear and straightforward.
Okay, so pay attention to how the guidance feels. If it's calm, reassuring, and simple, it might be the real deal.
Exactly. And actually, Choquette mentioned some red flags too, things that might indicate we're listening to our egos instead.
Oh, interesting. What are those red flags? Like, what should we watch out for?
Well, a big one is feeling flattered.
Flattered?
Yeah, like if the guidance is telling you how special or unique you are.
Because our egos love to be told how great they are.
Exactly. True guidance is about empowering us, not inflating our egos.
Makes sense. Any other red flags we should be aware of?
Another one is feeling controlled, like pressured to do something specific.
Oh, okay.
Authentic guidance will never force you into anything.
So it's about suggestions and insights, not a list of commands.
Right.
And so just to recap, real guidance feels calm, reassuring, and maybe even surprising in its simplicity. But if it's stroking our egos, making us feel special or pressuring us, then we might want to question it.
Yeah, that's a great summary.
This is all really fascinating, but also a bit intimidating, to be honest. What if we're doing it wrong? Or misinterpreting the guidance?
It's a common concern, but Choquette really emphasizes that there's no right or wrong way to do this.
Okay, so no need to stress about being perfect right away.
Not at all. It's about finding what works for you, what helps you connect with that inner wisdom.
We're all intuitive beings at our core, right? It's just a matter of remembering.
Exactly.
So let's say we've done all the prep work, we've connected with our guides, asked our questions, and received some guidance. What do we do then?
Choquette has a really beautiful suggestion. She says, just say thank you.
Thank you. Delete, that's it.
It's so simple but powerful. It's about acknowledging and honoring the guidance, even if we don't fully understand it yet.
And it sort of closes the loop.
Exactly. We're signaling that we're ready to move forward.
So then we just take those insights and carry them with us as we go about our day.
Exactly. It's not meant to be some isolated event. This is something we can weave into our everyday lives.
Letting those whispers guide us.
Oh, wait.
Choquette seems to really be emphasizing the importance of trusting ourselves and the guidance we receive, even if it doesn't always make sense logically.
It's about tapping into a deeper knowing, something beyond the rational mind.
It's funny, isn't it? We search for all this external guidance and answers, but we often overlook the wisdom within ourselves.
It's true, like we're searching for something that's been there all along.
So before we wrap up this deep dive into channeling, I want to touch on one more thing Choquette mentions. She talks about the benefits of this practice, not just for spiritual growth, but for our overall well-being.
Yeah, it is interesting, like how connecting with our inner guidance can help us navigate daily life.
What kind of benefits are we talking about here?
Well, she talks about cultivating more clarity, more peace, even just a sense of direction.
Makes sense. It's so easy to get caught up in all the external noise that we lose touch with our own inner compass.
Definitely. And it makes you wonder, how many times have we made decisions based on outside pressures when our intuition was trying to tell us something else?
That's a good point. Channeling can help us tune out that external noise and reconnect with what truly resonates with us.
It's like having this source of unwavering support and guidance, always available.
And it makes you think about the power of intuition, something we often dismiss in our modern world.
Yeah, it's like we're reclaiming that ability, that connection to something bigger.
So we've covered a lot of ground here, from the practical steps to the potential benefits. As we start to wrap up, what do you think is the most important takeaway from all of this?
For me, it all comes back to the idea that we all have that capacity to connect with our inner guidance.
That capacity.
Yeah, whether we call it angels or spirit guides or intuition or even just our higher selves. It's there.
It's a pretty powerful thought when you think about it.
It is. It really is. And it's empowering too, right?
How so?
Well, it means we're not just at the mercy of our circumstances. We don't have to constantly be searching for answers outside of ourselves.
We have the answers within.
Exactly. By learning to quiet our minds and really listen, we can tap into this whole wellspring of wisdom and support.
And that can help us navigate all of life's challenges.
With more clarity, more purpose,
Right.
even more peace.
I like that. It's a good reminder that we're not alone and that we have this guidance system that goes beyond what we can see and touch.
It is. It really is about remembering who we are,
Powerful, intuitive beings.
connected to something much greater than ourselves.
This has been such an interesting deep dive, inspiring even. I feel like we've uncovered some really great tools here for anyone who wants more clarity in their life, more intuition.
Oh, absolutely. And even if the whole, angel and spirit guide thing doesn't resonate, the techniques themselves are useful.
Yeah. Like we said before, even for stress reduction or tapping into creativity, it's all valuable.
Total.
So as we wrap up here, I want to leave everyone with a question to ponder. If you could ask your inner guidance system one question right now, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good one.
What whispers are you hearing? What guidance are you seeking right now, in this moment?
Love it.
Take some time to think about it, maybe even journal about it and see what comes up.
Yeah, good idea.
And, if you're feeling adventurous, try out some of the techniques we talked about today. See what happens when you quiet your mind and just listen.
You might be surprised by what you discover.
And hey, who knows? Maybe you'll have some amazing stories to share. So, until next time, keep diving deep, keep exploring, keep listening to that inner voice.
It might just have all the answers you've been searching for.